So you talked about being from Englewood here in Chicago. I'm curious as I'm not a native Chicagoan, right? I moved to Chicago in late 2015 I'm an East Coast asshole. Yeah. But I'm curious, what are your thoughts around the obstacles or the challenges your upbringing put in front of you compared to maybe someone like me who grew up in, lower middle class in Richmond, Virginia, or, someone whose parents are in the corporate world? Like, how did you kind of go about that? And as you look back on your experience, what were some of the obstacles that kids in your neighborhood face on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I never, like, as weird as this is, I never really compared myself to other folks. I was around, wealthier kids, just kind of from school and internships and things like that. Yeah. I remember my internship with the state's attorney's office. A kid had a party out in Palos Heights, and that was the biggest house I had ever seen before in my life. But I think one of the things that's like interesting about those of us who have made it out of Englewood and actually like went to school and worked in corporate environments is like we've had to really survive to get out of that environment. And then once we're out of that environment, now we're going into a space where most of the people around us are middle class or higher. Yeah. And so we've got to normalize. Yeah. Like we have to pivot from the trauma that helped us survive and like normalize engaging with people and actually socializing with people. Yeah. And I don't think that people understand that transition for us. And I literally keep in touch with or have some type of relationship with just about every young person within Englewood that goes off to college and graduates and things of that nature. So that's something that we just kind of, dig in and push through. Yeah. But we never really address it. And it does impact us, which is I'm a strong advocate for therapy because we have so much trauma. I mean, if you think about it, two of my closest friends had 2 kids by the time they were, in sophomore year of high school. Wow. And then one dropped out at sophomore year of high school and never went back. I think he's got like 6 kids now. Shout out to Debo. But so like just like experiencing that. Yeah. Most of my friends were smoking weed and drinking at 12, 13 years old. Just seeing that, it was like, it's kind of crazy. We used to play ball at Ogden Park, which is on the other side of Halstead, and we would get chased back and sometimes shot at on the way back. So it's important to understand people's background and their journey, and particularly with mine, having to go from, because my mother wasn't even at like prom. Like my mother was in a mental hospital during prom. Oh, wow. So I had to get ready to go to school like on my own while processing all of that. Yeah. And so, and my best friend Carl, his brother Paul Johnson, he's the reason I went to FAMU. Big reason. That's the best decision I ever made was going to FAMU. And so he really was like, no, you got to do this. You good. You got this. He actually drove me and Carl down to FAM. Mm-hmm. And so, but it's just really important to understand like having to come from that environment, normalize and figure it out. Yeah. And then you're around all these people that have so much. One of my closest friends at FAMU, his mom was like the vice president of Sony. Mm-hmm. He told me how much she made. I was like, what? Like, that's crazy. So, but with creating meaningful relationships and being intentional even before that's what it is, like, you can completely wash away a lot of the grime and the dirt that comes with coming out of those environments. Because Englewood, there's Englewoods in Philly, New York, all over the place, right? Yeah. And so that's something that's important to understand coming out of that environment and figuring out how to normalize in regular society. Something that my peers at FAMU and even in corporate environments didn't have to go through. I remember being at Johnson & Johnson and, one of my cousin's friends getting shot and me having to leave work to like make sure, you know, he didn't do anything crazy. And I was trying to explain that to my manager, and he was like, "Why would anybody shoot a kid?" And I was like, I just got to go. You know, so you know, those are the things that I carried on a day-to-day basis, even in corporate America, and is one of the big reasons why I gave back early on and continue to give back. And I've been able to really help a lot of people, you know, to really get to where they want to go.